Today's session focuses on Operation Sindoor and the role of media. Not just a messenger of facts, but as a force that shaped narratives, influenced perspective, and even impacted diplomacy. Our panel will reflect on how media reported the operation, the challenges it faced, and the lessons it offered for journalism, national security in the future. Let us begin with the dialogue. With me is our esteemed panelists Nitin Gokhale sir, Sachin Gogoi, and Sangeeta Barua Pisharti. Basically, Operation Sindoor, we saw, had many narratives. Indian media celebrated its victory, whereas international media had some different narrative. We had interviews of Yalda Hakim, who went viral with her interviews of top bureaucrats from Pakistan. And Indian Defense Ministry stayed away from the international media. We had over-expressive national media who had sirens and bunkers in their studios, which caught the eyeballs, but then we were also misled by the misinformation and the fake news. I would like to know about Operation Sindoor and what are your views if the media did justice to this entire operation. Over to you. Yeah.
Thank you, the organizers, for calling me to be part of this panel discussion. It is an important discussion because I, being a member of Indian media, has also been thinking about, now that we have a little time to go back, look back, and think what has happened during the time. It happened so quickly, Smitakshi, that we had to really, we had not much time. And I tell you, having come from an organization called The Wire, we had a double whammy. I'll tell you where the double whammy happened. And so when you talk about the international media and Indian media, I would still make a difference between categorize between between the Indian electronic media and the other media, say digital media, print media. The entire, I should use this Hindi word being in Delhi, the Nautanki, entire Nautanki happened in the Indian television. The fake industry, the line between the fake industry, the fake news industry, the factory, I should say, the line blurred between that industry and the television media at the time. But print, digital, in Indian media were actually trying to do work. Sachin will get into the international space, I would not, but I still say that my senior at my office, journalist Karan Thapar, was every day bringing in the international voices also to our Indian viewership to see what is actually happening, because we wanted to give the 360-degree view. So that's why we got people even from Pakistan. The former NSA of Pakistan was trying to control the narrative. We were not allowing that to happen, because that's the time, that's the beauty and the strength of the Indian media that we have to show. When you try to control the narrative worldwide, we have to come in between. And that space was given away by the electronic media at that time, because electronic media is a very powerful media. At that time, you should be, because people watch them. If you can control them at that time, if you can tell them that this is the lie you are telling to the international community, we would have been able to control it. But instead, what happened? Wire was shut for about 12 hours. And why was it done? Because we reported what a CNN already reported. We curated that report. And because of that report, we were shut for about 12 hours. And we wanted to go to the court, but they didn't, they thankfully lifted the thing, saying that, you know, that story, if we can discuss later, and which we agreed to, because nobody wants to go against a government which is fighting a rogue state. So, so you have to work with certain responsibility, and we did that. Okay, so Smitakshi is very important. That's why to differentiate between you know, Indian media at different categories. Yeah. But having said that, look what is happening in Nepal today. Okay, the Indian media is getting very terrible treatment, all thanks to the to this television media. And but there are a lot of reporters who are there from print, digital. You don't see those videos. They are not being attacked. You are getting, moment they see the mic, they are coming and attacking. That means the kind of, you know, the reputation that has gone down of Indian media is only solely because of that. So it's a thing we all, as members of media, as members of public, need to think about what has gone wrong there. Yeah, thank you.
So my next question will be to Sachin Gogoi. So India actually criticizes BBC for an equivalence framing. BBC basically showed both the sides quite equally, quite flatly, like, you know, as if, but India, on the other hand, was actually fighting terrorism. That's what we all say, that, you know, it's fighting terrorism, it was a counter-attack, and it was an operation which was conducted because of the Pahalgam attacks that were done on civilians. So why this narrative from BBC, and what are your takes on it?
First of all, a big congratulations to the Protidin Group for organizing such a fabulous event year after year. It's been a remarkable effort, and it's wonderful to be a part of this journey. Now, to talk about media's role, I'm reminded of a quote by a famous American writer, Douglas Kennedy. He had said, "We all talk so much about how much we hate lies, but we prefer most often lies. And the reason is we find comfort in comfortable lies, you know, than encountering painful truths." And I think that is one premise on which Indian media outlets, a lot of them have been working on. They have been dishing out lies which people feel very comfortable with, and essentially they start gaining currency. Now, to talk about BBC's role, yes, I mean, you go to any part of the world, BBC is accused of doing a lot of things or not doing a lot of things. We acknowledge that, but I think, you know, I have a very clear perspective on this. Barely after joining the BBC, after 5 or 6 months, I had an opportunity to interact with a senior editor of the organization, and, you know, we got talking about different issues, like how the organization is perceived in different parts of the world. She told to me that essentially, as a news organization, we have the responsibility of asking questions to the powerful, not to people who are in opposition. And at the same time, as a news organization, we have the responsibility to provide voices to the voiceless. So essentially, it's not the work of a news organization to amplify the voice of the government. The government has innumerable ways of, you know, taking its voice to the audiences. It has its own news outlets, it has its own websites, different departments maintain websites. For a news organization to be truly serving democracy, it's paramount that we ask difficult questions to the people who are making policies, to the people who are in power. Now, coming specifically to the issue of the coverage of the May conflict between India and Pakistan, I believe we did a fabulous job, and I'll tell you why. I think our coverage was restrained, dispassionate, and impartial. You know, as an Indian, I do not consider myself as any less patriotic than anybody else. But the moment I wear the lapel, the moment I am ready to, stroke the keyboard, the keys on the keyboard, I cannot be a patriotic, angry Indian. I work for an international media organization, and, we often forget the target audience. Like every media organization has a target audience. And I'll drill down to a very simple fact. For instance, Protidin. Protidin's audience base is mostly Assamese, mostly based in Assam. So when there is a conflict between two states, maybe Assam, Meghalaya, maybe Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, I think it's very easy for Protidin to take a stance in that, isn't it? When there's a conflict between India and Pakistan, again, it's very easy to take a bit of a stance in that. But if, for instance, Kamrup is having a conflict with, say, Mongoldoi, is it easy to take a position in that kind of a situation? It's not, because your audiences are across Assam, across districts. People will have to have trust and faith in you. You cannot be seen as partial or not neutral. So in our case, when I'm facing the camera or I'm writing a piece, I'll have to be mindful of the audiences across the world. So that precisely is the reason why I think our coverage was quite restrained, impartial, balanced, and people talked about, certain narratives. I at least don't know we tried to set any narrative as such, because, if I go back to Balakot, if you remember, Pakistan had asserted that a few trees were killed in the operation. And I think it was after BBC Urdu's coverage from the Balakot facility where essentially the world came to know that there was widespread destruction of the facility. So, I mean, we didn't really take a position, we didn't take a stance, we brought the truth as it is. So I think that's essentially our coverage stance.
That's the role of media, whether it's international or national. We should be always speaking the truth.
দৃষ্টিহীন হোৱাৰ বাবেই পিতৃও এৰি গৈছিল তথাপিও থমকি ৰোৱা নাছিল সিমু
আমি যদি নিজে ভাবো যে আমি ব্লাইন্ড তো আমি সদায় ব্লাইণ্ডে থাকিম
দুচকুৰে ৰঙীন পৃথিৱী নেদেখিলেও নিজৰ ধৰণে সজালে জীৱন
এই শব্দটো যেটো শব্দ আপোনালোকে শুনিছে এই শব্দটোৰ জৰিয়তে আসলে তাই কেচ কৰিব পাৰে
বিশ্ব